Harness line placement is something that is often tricky to get perfect, so I thought I'd share some of my thoughts on where I place my harness lines and why. Here's a 5.7 setup for a session where it was 25 knots and very gusty. The objective is to get the harness lines where there is the highest concentration of power in the sail, or the centre of effort. To start with, I'll set up the line strap that's closest to the mast and put it roughly 5 hand widths down the boom according to how big the sail is. So if it's 4 meters, I do 4 hand widths, and if it was 7, I'd likely do 7. But I strongly advise that this is a rough indicator due to personal preference, conditions, and even hand width. But it's a good starting point. Some sails have guides to where you should place the harness lines, so that makes it pretty easy. However, as I've said in previous videos, if your sail is old or heavily used, the sail shape will have changed, and as a result the guide may not be as accurate as when the sail was first bought. Now for the other line strap. Typically, I've got used to using long harness lines, 32 inch, and putting the straps right next to each other for maximum length, as I prefer to be super far away from the kit, and as I tend to put my boom pretty high for maximum power, having long harness lines is pretty much crucial for me. This is quite typical with freestyle riders. It enables me to get right away from the kit so I can use the windward rail to get upwind, as well as having the sail in an upright position. But that's probably for a different video. So if I know it's going to be gusty, I'll actually separate the lines slightly by a hand width or two, which spreads the load. When it's gusty, the centre of effort can move around a lot, so having more of a range on the lines in terms of width helps control the sail. So bearing in mind this is all set up before I launch, there may still be some adjusting to do out on the water. Here's a really basic way of knowing how to adjust your harness lines out on the water. I'd highly recommend doing this as soon as possible so you're set up properly for your session. If you feel like you're using your backhand much more than your front, you should move your harness lines back. If you feel like there is more strain on your front hand, then move your lines forward. Now remember, it is likely that only a small difference will have a big impact, so make sure to make small adjustments. If you find both your arms are aching after just a few runs, you should separate the lines even more. Failing that, you may need to commit to the harness more, which will actually take the load off your arms. And failing that, well, maybe you need to go lift some weights at the gym. All jokes aside, I hope this short guide has been useful and hopefully your sessions will be a lot more comfortable from here on out. You don't always have to have the perfect setup, but you should at least take the time to control the controllables.